So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Cracker Barrel ended up changing their logo, but then changing it back. And the reason they changed it back is because they got rid of the barrel and they got rid of the cracker. And people didn't like that. The right absolutely went haywire over this, and they would not shut the fuck up about it. And so eventually, after like 2 days of anger, Cracker Barrel came out and said, okay, all right, we won't change it. You guys win. Now, they hate Cracker Barrel because they have in their mind this notion that Cracker Barrel done gone woke, bro. They gone woke. And, of course, that's not true. Like, the reason they changed it had nothing to do with wokeness. It's completely and utterly made up. And look, to be fair, I also didn't like the change of it. But the reason I didn't like it is because I just don't like this movement towards minimalism where everything's got to be overly simple. When back in the day, logos or, sports teams logos, they were really cool. Like, some of them could be very intricate and like very artsy and very complicated. And it was just nice. It was different, right? So I also didn't like the logo change, but for different reasons compared to the conservatives. The conservatives somehow were trying to blame liberals and lefties and wokeness and trans people and whatever the fuck, you know how they are. Well, anyway, there's this TikTok that I want to show you here because this TikToker, and I don't know his name, post in the comments if you know this person's name, because shout out to them. I really like this. This person lays out in no uncertain terms how, hey, Republicans, you think you're against just woke people and the left and the LGBTQ community and whatever, but the thing that you're pissed off about, all of these logos that are, changing it and they're becoming worse, you should actually be pissed off at capitalism because that's who's to blame. Watch this and then we'll break it down.
So this, by the way, is all because of Wall Street. This is all because of the stock market, because of investors, private equity, and the demand to get more value to shareholders. This has nothing to do with wokeness or DEI, you stupid sleeping babies. Okay? I'm going to explain this to you.
So before he continues, let me just say, for people who are listening to this podcast style and you're not seeing what's on the screen, you have an older McDonald's and what it looked like versus a newer one. You have an older Pizza Hut versus a newer one. You have an older Cracker Barrel versus the one with the new logo that they just scrapped. You have the old Taco Bell versus the new Taco Bell. And basically across the board, the old logos and the old style of the buildings and stuff was just superior to the new ones. The new ones, it's all just like boxy, modern type buildings and more simple logos. So he's going to explain it. Here we go.
The way McDonald's is structured is McDonald's owns the land underneath this building. They own the land. They're the biggest landholders in the United States when it comes to commercial properties. The franchisees then rent the building on top of them. And you know what happens? Sometimes McDonald's go out of business. And when McDonald's goes out of business, they want to put a different business in there and they want to sell the land underneath it. Well, guess what? When you have a building that can only be a McDonald's or can only be a Pizza Hut or can only be a Cracker Barrel or only be a Taco Bell, guess what? It's harder to sell those businesses. So every business has slowly been turning into a gray or beige box because you know what happens when you put a vape store inside of an old Pizza Hut? We all call it, the vape store inside of the old Pizza Hut. Now, in the future, they'll just pull the Pizza Hut sign off and you'll go, I think that might have used to be a Starbucks. I don't remember. I don't know. But all the buildings used to look like this. It's also easier to do upkeep on it. They all have the same dumb awning with these weird little latches attached to them. They don't have to have the special McDonald's only custom ordered roof or the special Pizza Hut red shingle or making sure that they have to do this special lighting underneath Cracker Barrel or whatever was going on with Taco Bell back in the day. They're all buying from the same company. They're all using the same parts. That brings down their cost. They're not building play places anymore. It's not because of wokeness. It's not because, gay people, no, it's because insurance for a play place costs more than just having a fucking McDonald's. Because the purpose of all these buildings is to just pay off the property taxes while the land underneath it gets more and more expensive. So eventually you can sell it to somebody.
Capitalism, race to the bottom type stuff is what we're seeing here.
The purpose of all these buildings is to just pay off the property taxes while the land underneath it gets more and more expensive. So eventually you can sell it to somebody. Like in the case of Cracker Barrel, maybe the fact that they have land that's connected to the edge of every single highway exit by mid-tier cities all across the United States. Maybe that'll be a good play for somebody who wants to put up electric vehicle supercharge stations. Oh, look how they're all conveniently right here off the highway. And we have robots that can serve everybody $12 hot dogs. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But none of this has to do with wokeness, DEI, LGBT, black people, immigrants. None of that shit was caused by this. This was completely caused by Excel spreadsheets and people going, if we do less, we can cash out with more. And that's the American dream, to do fuck all and to cash out with a lot more money. Okay?
And it actually goes even darker than that. So for example, a lot of these new logos, which are like overly simplistic and kind of small, like if you look at just McDonald's with just the golden arches, right? A lot of times companies are moving towards that way of doing things so that you can fit the logo on an app. So you can say, oh yeah, that's this when you look at the app. And so you've had this movement away from art, from, maybe a complicated or interesting logo, a different logo, or a style of building that's a little more intricate, a little more nuanced, it stands out a little more. Because yeah, it's harder to sell that property if it's just, it's only that's the McDonald's type roof shape or the Pizza Hut type roof shape. So all of this is effectively about profit maximization, right? And what is profit maximization? Where does it come from? That's capitalism. That's the point of capitalism. And it does feel like we are now in a different stage of capitalism, the late stage of capitalism, because they're not trying anymore, right? I mean, what percentage of the economy is just scams? Because I got news for you. What, the biggest companies right now are what? The AI tech companies? That bubble's going to burst mighty soon, y'all. That bubble's going to burst mighty soon, and it's going to be ugly. You have that. You have crypto, NFTs, all this shit. What percentage of the American economy is just scams? It's just a con job. One person conning another, and that person thinks they're conning somebody else, right? It's what it is. That's what it is. And so, yeah, this is not good. It is not good. But what the right needs to understand is they think, and I've noticed this with sports logos too, right? This older sports logos were cooler. They were better. They were like in the NBA, the movement towards minimalism when it comes to logos and jerseys. I hate it. I think like the old Raptors jersey was dope as fuck. Think in NHL, the Panthers jersey, although I don't know if they've changed that since then. And NHL might be a different story. I don't know. But in the NBA, it's a movement towards minimalism. It fucking sucks. It sucks. And, even the idea of like changing the jersey every year, coming out with 4 or 5 different jerseys every year. What's that for? Profit. It's for profit because, now somebody might want to buy the newer version of the Miami Heat jersey or whatever the fuck. So it all comes down to that. It all comes down to capitalism. It all comes down to profit, and it fucking ruins everything. It ruins everything. Nothing's fucking sacred. Nothing is sacred. And everything's on the table. You know what I'm saying? So it is, I like this video. This video really explains to the right how, you think you're mad at fucking wokeness. You think you're mad at DEI. You think everything's shit because of liberals and leftists. And it's like, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. This endless chase for profit has now turned everything into a dull, boxy, beige, gray storefront, right? And they all fucking look the same. And, it's like hell. Nothing's interesting. Nothing's spiced up. Nothing is unique. It's all the same bullshit. They just want to feed you your slop and take their fucking money, right? And maximize that profit by any means necessary. And if that means firing all their fucking workers and bringing in machines, they're going to fire all their workers and bring in fucking machines, right? If that means, that means having a workforce that's now poor and miserable and can't pay the bills, we don't give a fuck. That's what we're going to do. This is the kind of system that we've created. And that's the problem. The problem is capitalism, nothing else. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.